Let's go to the phones. You're calling from a 509 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Sam, this is Ronald Raygun.
Ronald Raygun. Glad to hear from you. What is your response to the deal? Ronald Raygun being an immigration lawyer and host of an immigration law podcast.
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
What's the name of it again?
It doesn't matter.
Come on. You don't know the name of your own podcast? Okay.
It's called Redirect.
Redirect,
yeah,
yes.
It's not important.
Show.
So I mean, who knows? This president's so weird. I think earlier today he denied that there was a deal. And I guess I called in a couple weeks ago and encouraged people to make sure that they're calling their Congress people and really pushing the outer limits of whatever agreement there could be. Because, I mean, any type of immigration reform is going to end up leaving people out, unfortunately. And I think that there's still room to push for example, pathway to citizenship. That's one thing that's potentially up for grabs. And then just trying to get as many people
wasn't that in the 2007 DREAM Act?
Yeah, it's been in past versions of the DREAM Act. I think that it's always included a path to citizenship, but this thing could get whittled down to basically a legislative form of DACA, where a limited group of people get a work permit that they have to keep renewing, and so that's important. Two quick things on immigration, actually. The first one, Steve King yesterday, one of his big things, Steve King, if you remember, also was the one who told Chris Hayes during the election that he said something super racist about Western civilization being the only source of
and I feel like Hayes was just sort of so floored, didn't really catch it.
He apologized. He apologized afterwards because he sort of let it hang there, but it was sort of so overt that I think it took him off guard. But so one of his alleged concerns is that the Dreamers will turn into essentially anchor babies, quote unquote, and that they'll be able to transmit benefits later to their parents, thus rewarding the person or the people who committed the so-called crime of coming to the country illegally. But people should know that the laws in place already are very effective in prohibiting the so-called anchor baby phenomenon. So if you come here illegally and you have a child and the child turns 21 years old, it's really, really hard for that child to then transmit any type of immigration benefits to the parents, because the parents are barred from getting permanent residency because of their unlawful presence and stuff. It gets a little weird, but basically that's already not a thing. Anchor babies are not a thing. And then the other thing is Paul Ryan today tweeted out about MS-13, and so that's maybe the tack he's going to take. That
we just got to keep the MS-13s out.
Right. And, gangs are a real issue, and our communities do have gangs, and that's certainly a security concern. But I spend a lot of time at the local ICE office, and every time I go into the waiting room, it's full of, honestly, like mothers there with their small children, and they're doing these sort of routine check-ins where they're just having the officer sign a piece of paper. And the amount of time and resources being spent on people that just absolutely pose no risk to anybody is astounding.
Well,
it's really, really incredible. And so,
and to add to that, when you let us know about a policy shift that happened several months ago, where the act of entering into the country without documentation, even the first time, became equivalent in terms of ICE's agenda as to who to pursue as an MS-13 member or a gang member or someone who had committed a violent offense in this country. which goes against the entire, like, so they're fear mongering, but they're specifically setting up policies where they are basically saying, oh, we're going to divert resources away from those people.
Right. And it's right. And what I'm saying is it's not just theoretical. In practice, this is what's happening. When you go down to these offices, you find officers who are, not to disparage the entire agency, but sitting around and, I had a check-in last week with a client who's been here since the 80s, but she's got an old removal order because she got screwed over by some fake attorney in like 1995. And she's been checking in since like 2010. And so we checked in, she's never committed a crime. She's got 3 U.S. citizen kids.
But wait, you're saying she's only been here for 30 some odd years.
Right. They told us to come back in 2 weeks. So we're going to go back and they're going to sign the paper again. And so my message, like, if there's anybody out there who wants to call the representative or argue on Facebook, if your concern really is about security and MS-13, which is a legitimate concern in some ways, not in the way that they portray it, but the very, very, very first thing you should do is pass a very broad amnesty and allow the people who are here undocumented to come out of the shadows and get out of the way so that ICE could do their job. They don't do that because it's about race and other things, but that's the perfect way to respond to somebody like Paul Ryan, who's trying to say that the only way to deal with this issue is to enforce the law on the books. And what I'm saying is the laws on the books are extremely ill-equipped to deal with the problem that they're saying that we have. So
yes, I mean the only problem with that, with what you're saying, is that they are totally disingenuous. But
right, exactly.
But it is a good rebuttal. Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos